Okay, let's see if we're live. Okay. Okay, I think we are live, but it should see your faces. Ooh. Okay. Oops, I think you're live. Yep, I think we are. Hold on, hold on. Ooh, yeah. So, I'm gonna put the chat. Hey guys. Mm, okay, I guess we're gonna have to go live here. Um, yep, that is how it's going to be. Yay, okay, hello. I think this is okay then. Did I mute this? I did not. Okay. Um, okay, sorry, I had to pick up something as well outside, but wow, that was such an amazing experience. Okay. Um, so I guess today this is going to be a chill session, nothing too particular about trees. First of all, welcome and thank you for staying with me throughout this whole technical thing going on. Um, yeah, let me know if you guys can hear me though. I don't hear myself, so I'm not sure if you're able to hear me well or okay. All right, good. Okay, so this is an example of the trees that I've painted before, which just is something that I've posted on Instagram. It's basically showing you different kinds of tree architecture, and this is a great way to kind of practice, I guess, um, how you see trees from afar. And one of the things that I kind of tell people when sketching or painting trees on site is to look for something that fits in there within their pencil. Because for one, if this is your pencil, um, it should fit, presuming, I guess, that this is your pencil is smaller than your sketch pad, then it should be way less overwhelming for you to um, deal with the subject that you've got. So these are obviously from reference photos and these are way smaller. So let's just presume that if I was, um, doing this or painting this or sketching this on site, then this would be um, like from a distance. So we're going to start with trees that are from a distance so that we're going to be able to comprehend them easier. And we're going to be pretending that we're on site. And today, this is not a class. This is just me showing you how I deal with, basic tree subjects. And I'm going to be presenting to you some of the trees that are native here in the Philippines. Um, so what we've got here is two photos. This is Banaba. Um, Gerstromia speciosa. I'm not sure what the other local terms are in other countries. It's got these beautiful purple flowers that are used for tea. Um, it's really amazing. It's one of the most beautiful symmetrical flowers that I've seen as well. Molave, priced here in the Philippines. So look at this wood. It's beautiful. So let's talk about first why I chose these photos. These are, by the way, from Philippine Native Tree Enthusiasts group in the Philippines. So why I chose this photo is because I'm able to see the whole tree. So we've got the crown plus the trunk showing. We also got the trunk and the crown here. And notice how both of these trees, you can kind of trace out a general shape from it. So kind of when I kind of like imagine it, I can draw an outline of the shape around it. But you also do notice that there are spaces here in between. So we have to take note of that, meaning that when we paint later on, or when we sketch or paint, yeah, we're not going to be filling in the whole shape. So those are just key things that we need to be mindful of. The trunk. Let's talk about the trunk first. I guess for now we're going to be trying to do one tree, and then it's up to you if you want to do the other tree. But yeah, for the trunk, um, I think it's Yeah, it was Leonardo da Vinci who said that the branches should not be thicker than the branches below them. So in this case, this is the branch one, or this is the trunk one, and then it branches out into two. So these two should not be thicker than this. And it's actually, when you put it all together, it should be actually equally the same amount or area of this branch that is directly below, which is in this case the trunk. So in that sense, we kind of want to think about it as the branch goes further from the trunk, it gets thinner. Yeah, so I know you're seeing the photos in a hazed or foggy kind of situation that here, or it's not as sharp, but it actually helps because when you're seeing it on site, you tend to kind of get immersed into the details of it and draw individual leaves. In fact, I'm going to show you an example of an artist, a science illustrator, you may say, who did something similar. So we're going to be showcasing a very old book, and it's already falling apart. Okay, this book is called The Architecture of Trees, and in one of these pages, I think we've got like pines and amazing examples here of sequoia. There, sequoia sempervirens. And you can see when I get it up close that those are made of individual strokes. Same here with the pines. Let me see if I can find the pine tree here. This is a good reference of how an artist thinks, but when you're painting on site and you just want, a few minutes of your time to just paint, I would not recommend it. So yeah, very intricate line works there. And it's a very old book, so it's, yeah, dusty. All right, bought it from book sale. Okay, so I guess let's start with one of these trees. Again, if you've got your materials with you, I'll be using a pencil. If you've got a pen, no problem. I have my watercolor palette with me, and actually put it right there. I'm using a limited palette. It's a split complementary palette, meaning you've got the cool and warm version of the primary. So cool and warm yellow, cool and warm red, cool and warm blue. This is a Jane's Gray and an extra color, which we will not be using today, I believe. So let's put that aside. Okay. I think we can, for today, do this first and then the Banaba second because it has flowers on it, so this is simpler in terms of colors. So again, it's not a class. I'm just going to show you how to, although I feel like I'm talking like it's a class already, so it's not a bad thing, I guess. Okay, so I'm gonna do this first one with you. All right. So the overall shape of the, what do you call this, Molave is relatively thin. It's a young branch, or young tree, what am I talking about? A young tree. And then I usually start off with the trunk, and keep in mind that the trunk is almost always as thin as your pencil, or even more thin, actually. Why am I sideways? Okay. Then there's a branch going on here. So there's that. And it's okay if you don't get it perfect the first time. I'm not aiming for perfect here. Do I erase lines? No, I don't. I don't erase lines. If it's something major, yeah, but the reason why I don't erase lines is because I want to commit to the sketches I've made and try to see myself how I work with the mistakes that I've got. But also, most of the time, it's because I cannot find my eraser, so yeah, great excuse. All right, let us just fix that a little bit because I think I am tilted. So sorry about that. I do not, for the life of me, understand how I got into the situation of moving into a different Zoom link. But yeah, technology, and and this is my job. I usually host stuff online, and it's funny that it happened to me, but yeah, thank you guys for staying. Just wanted to, I guess, chill and paint. I've been teaching for a while, and sometimes it just takes away the pleasure of, just doing art for yourself, and I haven't done art today, and I've been feeling sick, so yeah, this kind of is my rest. The situation right here for the branches gets a little bit messy, but I'm just keeping in mind that as long as the branches are thin and I got the general direction to where the branches are going, then that should be okay. Because at the end of the day, you're not painting for a book or a scientific illustration. This is for you. This is what we're doing now is the kind of art that is for ourselves. Now that I've laid those in, the general structure in, I realize that my trunk below is a little too thin. So I think I can adjust that. So make them thicker. Okay. And I believe that there are a lot of artists out there who are going to be able to make a lot of trees better than the way I do it. And if you're a beginner and you're thinking, how does she make it so effortless? I don't really. My mind cannot comprehend the branches. I'm just like, oh, I see a branch there that should be going here and there. So yeah. Oh, by the way, if you have like questions, feel free to let me know. And I should be watching through the streaming device, which is not here. Woohoo. Okay. Hmm. Ah, yeah. Okay. I cannot see it because. All right. Moving forward with the foliage. Okay. So for this kind, this is more of an irregular shape right here. And so for irregularly shaped trees or leaves, what we can do is, trace the outline as we see it, but make sure that it is, not a perfect shape. And so we're going to start from the bottom. And I know that it kind of blends in with the leaves from the back, but how you distinguish that from the leaves or the foliage in the front is that this section of the cluster of leaves here is being hit by the sun, and so I guess this is lighter, and the ones at the back makes it darker. Beautiful subject for negative painting, by the way. So negative painting practice. And so with that, I'm just going to draw some squiggly lines, kind of tracing it very lightly and in a broken line kind of fashion. And I know that this takes skill and experience, and one good way to practice this is through blind contour. Your hand-eye coordination, and it does take a while. Again, this is not a class. I'm just showing you how I approach painting some things and how I deal with, I guess, mistakes. That's the most important thing. I wanted to show people, the process of making mistakes, how I deal with it, how, for example, that looks way leveled off compared to the one at the top, at the right. So I'm just gonna readjust that. Okay. Hi. Okay. Yeah, if you guys have questions about the processes, the techniques, the materials I'm using, materials I've explained earlier, but my tree is thinner. And that's because I did not do it according to proportion. So yeah, that's understandable. Nobody's gonna know, that this is the Molave reference. Yeah, so I guess we're gonna have to make that work. All right, and I'm gonna take note of the dark areas from here on. So your trees are, especially the irregular ones, are kind of actually in a cluster. So let me zoom out a little bit. Okay. They are in a cluster, and each balls right here have kind of a highlight shadow thing going on. So I'm trying to delineate those shapes right there. See, this is an entire ball-like structure. This one as well. I could delineate this section as separate from the rest. This one as well. Okay, this one's darker, so I'm just gonna shade it a little bit, very light. I normally don't shade it that dark just because um, it's watercolor that I'm gonna be dealing with after. But for the purpose of this live, just gonna show you where the dark areas are. So right here, you can see that this is very different from what's going on here, and that's okay because for me, um, just capturing the essence of the tree is enough. Um, and I made a mistake there. I do understand that. So next time, probably I'm not gonna make it this big or as big as it is. So, okay. And then for these kinds of clusters right here, I can see like tiny, tiny clusters or group of foliage there, but I'm not gonna draw individual one of those because I'm gonna let the watercolor do its thing. So I guess that's how my mind works. When it's too tiny for the pencil, um, let the watercolor do its thing. The role of the sketch for me is to just basically delineate areas where my watercolor will be placed or where the highlights and shadows will be. Um, at this point, I'm gonna put my pencil down and start painting. Okay, let me just grab my thing right here. Water. Ta-ta. Water break because I tend to become talkative. Okay, I will be using a round brush. Let's talk about brushes. Which brushes are actually perfect for foliage or which is not? Um, that's hard to answer. I mean, where do I begin, right? Um, I would say feel your way because normally the weirdest brushes would give you the most beautiful effect for foliage. Specialized brushes like these, fan brushes, are good. You can probably see YouTube videos showing you how to use fan brushes for trees and such, but this creates the shape for you. But we've got like a foundation or shape right here, so yeah, we're not going to be doing that or using that today. This is okay, but it's heavily packed with bristles, and so I guess when you stamp it, it's gonna be become a whole geometric shape instead of lose one. For tiny spaces like these, I would use something like this, like a round brush. So, um, for today, we're gonna be using a big brush. This is Etcher number 12. Right. So dip it in your water, water. Okay. This is a base color. The base color is yellow, a cool yellow. So I'm just gonna scatter that. If I'm being, if I was on site, I would probably just be careless and drop that cool yellow here everywhere. And then I'd probably forget where the yellows are. So, yeah, just be mindful of where the yellows are, where the yellows are brightest. When you fill in the shape, it's okay to not fill it in a kind of like in an accurate kind of manner because that's where the magic of watercolor lies. It gets dark. Oops, okay. And Kingdom is going crazy. Okay, you see how whenever I'm using my round brush, the tip is kind of I'm twisting and turning it, and so it's kind of creating this unpredictable organic shape. So, okay, you're now 30 minutes in, I guess. I was aiming for this to be something like very quick. I guess my mistake is I made this size big, so there's that. Well, lesson learned. Okay, let me know when if you wanted YouTube lives or this kind of structure or via Zoom. Um, yeah, let me know. There's not much yellows there, so I'm just gonna drop in some areas. Yeah. This is actually a little, I filled in the shape too much, I would say, because you notice that there's blue areas there, and I'm not gonna be dropping blue areas there already because when I do, it's gonna mix and it's gonna turn green, and it's just gonna fill in the space even more. So for this one, no. To make some unpredictability, create that unpredictable, um, you know, thing to it, I am just going to splatter some areas here. That is not splattering at all. Needs more water, so let's add more water there. Normally you would splatter at the end, yes, but I'd like to splatter it all the time, so okay. Okay, now mix a green, so I'm guessing that a cool green would do. Ooh, that got contaminated. Woohoo! Wow. Okay. This is for my midtone. That's a nice color. And while it's still wet, I'm just gonna, well, that's too wet. Okay. I guess I'm just gonna put it on areas where there's not much water to it. I am gonna make suggestions, or better off, we can just splatter our way. And this is not a joke. This is not like me showing you fun ways on how to make art. I actually do it. Okay, so for this one, I feel like this one is um that's my brother, heavily detailed, so I'm gonna adjust that. Okay, let's drop in more darker colors. I'm slowly introducing darker colors in the mix. It's cool compared to the warm yellow that we've got here, so we'll adjust that later. But for now, let me go back to the midtones. So, yeah, I often paint trees that are not, as perfect as they are. And yes, those trees do not make it on an Instagram feed. But they're obviously in my sketchbook and sketchbooks. And it's also the reason why I started the Trees in a Neighborhood series. Those are just funky looking trees. It's one of the best ways to kind of show people that you don't have to make perfect trees. And trees shouldn't be, that intimidating to begin with. They're fun to paint. Um, they're much like people. Each tree has this character. Yeah, I use my finger as well to stamp sometimes. And I'm doing this just because, let's just say that you were in um, a spot somewhere and you needed to go, and you've got like a few minutes left, and you need to make a suggestion of the details of the trees. This is what you can do. Um, so yeah, that's one of the most effective ways. I've done this a couple of times for undertones, for example, of watercolor or waterfalls. You've seen me paint while I'm hiking. I often use this trick, so yeah, you definitely can use the same. So now I'm slowly introducing some, finer lines. The tip of this brush is really fine, and so I'm able to make that suggestion. But I would understand that some brushes would not be able to create those kind of fine lines, so you need to switch to a thinner brush. Right. Whenever I'm splattering, by the way, I usually stand up. It gives you more control. Whereas when you're sitting down, it limits your splatters, and so you might find that tip useful. Okay, stepping back, I feel like this part right here is too soft. This is too detailed, so let's, I guess, make this softer. Okay, but not too soft that it kind of marries all in one shade. Um, I'm adding in darker hues of blue. Okay, I'm almost done. Um, I'm using a Jane's Gray, really just a gray color. It's a convenience color, meaning it's a color that's straight from the tube. And mix it with a little bit of warm red to make a brown. Just like that. To match that shade right there. I'm just gonna draw or paint the shadows. Because you don't have to paint the trunk in this case because the trunk is already too white. And in watercolor, you don't paint the white. So we're just gonna paint the shadows right there. And I know I've lost most of the shadows right there. Oops. Most of the shadows that initially have got there. Which I was hoping to establish before, but I guess that's okay. And my tree looks a little more full than the original ones. Look how I'm holding my brush. It's like a Chinese calligraphy thing. So just gonna throw in some strokes in between those clusters, um, making sure that it radiates from the center. Whatever I do to, include or add strokes here for the branches, it's just going to spread because it's still wet. But imagine we're just doing this for fun, something quick to do. So we're just going to let that be. If you're going to stress that out yourself for like a teeny tiny detail, then it's not going to be a relaxing session. So I guess for now, this is done. Oops, I don't think I was able to. Yeah. Okay, for now this is done. And I guess for the next session, we'll paint this banaba. This will be a lot more detailed. But for this malabi, I'm happy with this. This turned out to be cooler than the initial piece right here. But we've got the general structure of it, right? We've got like the white-ish kind of trunk. We also have the cool highlights from the sun, cool yellows from the sun. And I guess for the details of the leaves, we kind of got it because you've got like suggestions of the splatters and it kind of created that similar effect to it. What I would change or do something better next time is to add in more details because this suggests like chunkier. And so when I look at this, it's probably giving the impression of more leaves, whereas compared to this one, it's less leaves and more spaces in between. But that could actually be done if this was dry. We could add in more details later on and just copy the strokes or the lines that you see there. So if you see, so the trick is you don't actually just look at individual leaves, but you see like if these are lines that are going downwards, you copy those lines. So that's how it would approach it. Okay, I guess I'm done for today. That has been a journey of this live session, but um, let me know what you think if we should do more of these. And if you want to do like trees or other subjects, I definitely would like to do this on Zoom, but I would like for everybody to have this recording available afterwards, and so that's why I chose YouTube. But I promise to figure out technology sooner next time, so there's that. Um, Okay, so if you have followed along and you wanted to post what you've worked on your stories, on your feed, feel free to tag me at Dear to Our Hearts on Instagram. I'm more active there. But this has been such a wonderful session, and it's really just been amazing to be able to relax. Like I've said, I'm not feeling my best earlier at the moment. So, but this simple art session has helped me, and it's really just amazing to do art every now and then, just dedicate like an hour at least or 30 minutes at least of your day. It's really an amazing time to just slow down and it's a mindful activity. Yeah, so if you followed along, let me know in the future where you'd like to do this. Zoom, YouTube, Instagram Live. I would think Instagram Live is way has way lower resolution. I would definitely need to improve my setup. I thought my light was good, but have to figure that out. I think I need a third-party camera for it. Okay, enough of that. So, thank you so much, and I will see you again next time. And I think that's pretty much it for me. Bye bye for now. Bye bye.